Okay, we're back. Sorry, that oops was me cutting the video off. So, really, the main last thing I wanted to ask Renaldo was, well, actually two things. Just the walk itself. It's very symbolic. But you know, why the walk? Was that doing for people? Do you want people to join in? And also, what can people do right now, today, to support you?
So why the walk? I mean, a lot of it stems from asking the question, why did we start on August 6th?
Right.
We started on Tuesday, August 6th, this past week, because that was the 54th anniversary of the signage and passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And we started at the King Center. Which is rare. They rarely at the King Center, privately held by the family, allow press conferences to kick off there. So
I didn't know that.
We started there with the blessing of the King family because the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was recently gutted by the Supreme Court in 2013 in its Shelby versus Holder decision. And as a result of that, we've seen voter suppression just go off the rails. And this purging number that I referenced of 16 million, unprecedented, that's also, you know, a result of that. Or we can certainly say that purging has gone through the roof since that decision. So we started there because we've been hearing a lot of, you know, pundits and election analyses and even postmortems talk about what candidates can do different and what they must do to win here and that and the other. But no one's mentioning the fact that 2016 was the first presidential election without the full protection of the Voting Rights Act. And that's important for all the reasons we just referenced. So me starting in Georgia is symbolic not just because that's where my maternal line is from, but also because the King Center is the final resting place of Dr. King and Coretta Scott King. Where we stood in front of the reflecting pool is the King Memorial Tomb, where both of their bodies are. And it's important to show these pundits that when you don't mention those facts about how 2016 was the first presidential election without the full protection of the Voting Rights Act, you do so at the risk of dismissing the blood-drenched sacrifice of the civil rights movement. And also because Georgia became ground zero in our pro-democracy and anti-corruption fight in last year's 2018 gubernatorial election, where election purges and voter suppression defined that election and tipped the scales. So it was important to start there, and that's why you heard from the witnesses on the ground, both white and black, important to say that, from Dana and Stacy. And you can go to RepresentUS's Facebook page to see their first-hand witnesses, first-hand accounts of what happened on the ground. So it was important to start there. And for me personally, to walk in the path of so many who walked longer distances or endured worse elements and injustices, or climates, if you will, socially, to vote. And sometimes, in the case of, for instance, Otis Moss's father, it's a story that Oprah Winfrey has been fond of telling, were not even allowed to vote, even after walking so long, so many different places, miles and miles, being denied, dying before he even got a chance to vote.
My God.
So, walking in that symbolic path is what this is all about, to remind folks how precious our right to vote actually is. Sometimes we encounter some dogs for democracy.
Yeah. Dogs for democracy. Hashtag.
And even these dogs that we encountered are nothing compared to some of the dogs our forebears encountered on similar marches and
That's
walks.
Right.
So that kind of gives some symbolic grounding to what we're doing. But folks can support by going to democracy911.us and support any way you feel empowered to do, whether you want to donate or whether you want to actually join me like Larissa here.
Yeah.
And others who have joined along the way. Maybe you've been holding off on that 3K, 4K, or 5K. You can join me to do that for one stretch. Or join me as we approach DC to really make a bang. Because here's the thing.
What's the thing, Renaldo?
Important to show, it's important to show once more, especially now, this historic crossroads this nation is at with this interesting dance we're playing with our survival. It's important to show once more that the power of the people is always more powerful than the people in power.
I love that.
And when you go to the Declaration of Independence, everyone likes to focus on that one part that talks about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But I challenge you to read that second line right after that, which talks about how those empowered to get their power from the consent of the governed.
Yeah.
And how at any point when they feel, they being us, the people, feel that our happiness or safety is at stake, we have the power to abolish or alter that government to fit our needs. So check that out. And if you feel like I feel that our democracy is in a state of emergency, I hope that you will answer this 911 call and join us so that we can actually leave something to our children and grandchildren better than what we have right now.
That's it. Thanks, Renaldo.
My pleasure.
All right, I'll be joining often, so if you want to join me, or like you said, any way that you want to participate and support, then please do so. If you want to leave any comments, questions, and we can ask, I guess non-live, but we'll get back to you and make another video. Please do that as well. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.